Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Ethereum and the fact that it has broken through $1,800. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also, check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So, Ethereum continues the rally, and as we said before, it seems more likely than not that it will continue to follow in Bitcoin's footsteps in terms of the candles surrounding the move past the prior all-time high and then the surge afterwards. We saw Bitcoin go from 20K, it's about the prior all-time high, and now it's sitting at 46K. If we go to say the prior all-time high and look to see where Ethereum or where Bitcoin is in reference to that, let's take a measure move from the prior all-time high. So we'll take it around this level to the current valuation. It moved up another 138%. Now, we're not saying Ethereum has to move up another 138%, but a lot of times the volatility will be higher for coins like Ethereum than it was for Bitcoin. So 138% from Ethereum's prior all-time high, around 1440 or so. I mean, that would put it at $3,400. Okay, that would put Ethereum at $3,400. And again, we're not saying it has to make it to $3,400 or anything like that. But if it did, I don't think it would be that surprising because we would just say, well, it's a more volatile version of Bitcoin. The counter argument to something like that would be to say, well, it's already put in more gains than Bitcoin since the bottom, right? If you take this from the bottom to the current price, it's up 1,900%. Whereas if you take Bitcoin's return from the bottom, it's up 1,100%. I see a lot of people, with regards to Bitcoin, say things like, you should only ever hold Bitcoin because when Bitcoin moves, nothing else moves. Well, it's true that when Bitcoin moves, a lot of other coins don't really move a whole lot, but there's no denying that, over the years, recent years, Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin. Of course, there's going to be any given day or week where it doesn't, but over the macro scale, since inception of Ethereum, Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin. Now, if you compare Ethereum's ROI to Bitcoin's when Bitcoin launched, yes, Bitcoin blows Ethereum out of the water. But when we just take into account Ethereum's move in this cycle, it has been outperforming Bitcoin. So the hope, right, is that Ethereum can continue to outperform Bitcoin, not only say in from bottom up to back up to the top, but hopefully it can continue to extend. And if it does, then we could theoretically move past $3,400. I mean, imagine if it went up say 200% above the prior all-time high. We could be looking at a $4,500 Ethereum. So again, trying to time the exact market top is very difficult to do, and no one's going to be able to reasonably do it. Now, I've gotten a lot of questions recently, so I need to address one common, I think, misconception that I think a lot of people have is, I've said that I've stopped buying Ethereum. A lot of people take this to mean that, oh, if he stopped buying, he must think the price isn't going to go up anymore. And I've explained this so many times on the channel, but I guess one more time will not hurt. There's so many people out there that are of the mentality that you have to buy, and if you stop buying, then you think the top is in, right? So basically, what the argument must be is that you literally have to buy every step of the way. So in the last cycle, it would have corresponded to buying all the way up. Maybe you make your final buy at $1,400, you sell everything at $1,440, and if you're not doing that, then you did something wrong. And if you say stop buying here or stop buying here, then you're just considered a bear, right? So there are a lot of people that have this mentality in the space, and I see it on all sorts of forums. I get emails about it. People say it in Telegram, all sorts of places. People will say these things about, well, if you're not buying anymore, that means you think the top is in. It's the same thing with Bitcoin, right? I stopped buying Bitcoin at like $13,000, and I often get a lot of flack for that because, of course, Bitcoin is up, significantly since then. I mean, 13K was a long time ago, and now we're at 46K. I'm happy with my decision, right? I mean, I'm happy with my decision because though that money that was going into Bitcoin, I was aggressively buying Bitcoin when it was testing 10K. And we talked about this on the channel, right? We talked about this a lot on the channel. There were 6 weeks in a row where we said, this is the time to buy Bitcoin, right? And I stopped buying here. And then it blasted off, right? It doesn't mean that I still have the majority. I mean, I still have the majority of my Bitcoin, but it blasted off at this point, and I loaded up on it for years, and my philosophy is there's got to be some point where you cut it off and you say, you know what, you just got to let it ride for a while. And during this time, while this was going up, I was moving into Ethereum because my whole philosophy is you just don't chase pumps, right? So it was DCing into Bitcoin when it was down here, testing the 20 week, because whether it went up, down, or sideways at the 20 week, Bitcoin was most likely going to outperform everything else or most everything else in the market. So I was buying it here and then I stopped buying it here. I warned people, admittedly. I mean, obviously, I warned people the risk, and there was a risk, right? And so that's probably the most criticism I get, right, is warning people of risk and then it trending higher, and they're like, oh well, he was being bearish here and then it went up to here, right? So it's hard to please everyone. I have to warn people of the risk because the risks exist, right? They do exist, and at some point, um, it will come back down, and that's where it gets dangerous. So in the same manner with Ethereum, I've been buying for a long time. We did so many videos, the accumulation phase of a lifetime, the reaccumulation phase of a lifetime, the Q4 bleed of Ethereum against Bitcoin, the January rally of Ethereum, remember the end of December. And what's funny is no matter how bullish I was on Ethereum and aggressive accumulation for years, the minute I say I'm done buying at this level, the minute I say that, everyone writes me off as a bear. Everyone writes me off as a bear. So you have to understand that I'm coming at this from a biased perspective, completely biased perspective. And my biased perspective is I was buying in this area, right? I was buying for a long time in this area. So I'm just content letting things ride. Now, if you're new to the space, then you could be coming at it from a different perspective, right? If you don't have any Ethereum and you just want to load up, as I've said before, I think not owning Bitcoin, not owning Ethereum, it's too risky not to hold them for the duration of the market cycle, okay? So with that in mind, if I didn't hold them, then I would come into the market. But I already hold them, and as a lot of subscribers who follow me would know, right, aggressive accumulation for years. And then at some point, you just let the mania phase take over and you watch where your stack will take you. I mean, at this point, when when you're DCAing into the market for years, the amount of money that I would be putting into the market, if I just continued the same amount of DCA that I normally would, it's become like a negligible amount, right? Because everything is up so much. Continuing to add at this point doesn't really change a whole lot of anything. I'd rather just put it somewhere else and reduce my risk out of crypto into something else when the markets are going crazy. So yes, I have stopped buying Ethereum for now, but I'm sure I will be accumulating it again in the future. I still own most of my Ethereum, and I'm happy to see it rise. Okay, I want to see it rise much higher than $1,800. I hope I've done a good job of explaining my philosophy. I understand that some people might find it confusing. The problem is that if you only ever have the mentality of buy it every single day, there will be times where it can come back to haunt you. And another misconception is, if it does go to 3K, 5K, and then turns around, that doesn't mean that's the market cycle top. A lot of people think that, yeah, this is a mania phase for sure. And yes, we will have a correction at some point in a few weeks, in a few months. I don't know when it will be, but it will be a nasty correction. Whenever it does come, let's say we go to 3K or something, and then we correct. That doesn't mean that this is the market cycle top by any means, right? It does not mean it's the market cycle top. it could just be a local top, right? Before we ultimately trend much higher. You have to consider that. And if you don't care about these downturns, right, then who cares? Um, so I'm just trying to clear things up. Yes, Ethereum's at $1,800. I hope it can trend a whole lot higher than that. But for me, for my own personal risk tolerance, I have to cut it off at some point. And as someone who's been accumulating for years, to me, it makes sense to stop accumulating when things go crazy. Uh, but again, when you're going up against these mania fueled runs, you'll often get criticized for not buying Ethereum at say $1,200 if now it's at 1,800, or if it's at 2K tomorrow, then people will say, well, why didn't you buy it at $1,800? I don't know where the top is, and I'm happy to let my ETH stack ride, and I will hopefully watch it go much higher than the current valuation. And hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully it clears up some of the misconceptions behind behind these moves, right? I mean, there's certainly things that have accelerated far quicker than I ever imagined. I when Bitcoin was at 10K in October, I would not have expected a 46K Bitcoin by February, and here we are. So in the same manner for Ethereum, I mean, if it goes to 3K or 5K and it seems like it could be the top, maybe it's not. Maybe it goes to 6K. Maybe it goes higher before coming back down for a while. And then maybe even just continuing to run. Okay, so just some perspective on the market. Hopefully it's useful to newer people in the space. Hopefully people will find this valuable. And again, if my strategy still doesn't make sense to you, and you think it's foolish if the idea that if everyone thinks that Ethereum's going to say 3K, which I agree there's a decent chance it does, then buying at $1,800 still seems like a good idea to you, and you think I'm just spewing complete BS. Watch a different channel, right? Watch other channels. There's other opinions out there that can provide different views on the market, and that's really all I can say. I can give my views on the market. I'm a fairly risk-averse person, and I mean, at least I accumulate crypto, so I'm not completely risk-averse. But from a macroscopic view, in terms of crypto, in terms of what a lot of people are, I'm more risk-averse than most, and I've communicated that to you guys. I am more risk averse. I like coming into the market when the risk is low, when we are mainly in this region, and even some up here, and then letting everything else ride. And I think the people that have been in the market longer understand that point of view, and the people that are just joining now probably have more issues with it. But anyways, let's see how high Ethereum can go. We're at $1,800. It seems like it could have a lot more juice left in this run, especially with Bitcoin at 46K. We would just like to see Bitcoin volatility reduce down. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. We also have the premium list altcoin season sale going on. If you want access to that and how I'm navigating these markets, you can find a link to that in the description below. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.